You've correctly said, Daniel, of this decision, quote, Mr Guy's policy is yet another nail in the coffin for Victoria's once great manufacturing sector. Businesses such as the Alcoa aluminium smelter in Portland cannot continue to operate long term if Victoria is powered by unreliable and experimental renewable energy. Daniel, how can the Liberals claim to care about the rising cost of living if they make economy-destroying decisions like this?
Well, it's a critical point, and the key issue here is really you can't have a manufacturing sector and a sovereign manufacturing capability without having 24/7 baseload power. As you know, you need reliable power and affordable power to have a manufacturing sector and to be able to have heavy industry of any description. Victoria, historically, going right back to Federation days, was a manufacturing powerhouse, has been a leader in Australia over many decades with its manufacturing sector, but can no longer compete within Australia or internationally, in large part because of its high and growing electricity costs. As you mentioned, the aluminium smelter in Portland was actually asked to cease operations earlier this month by the energy operator because of supply shortages, in the same way that the smelter in the Hunter Valley, the Tomago smelter, was also asked to cease operations. And this gives us a glimpse into our future of what Australia will be like under net zero and under policies like a 50% cut to emissions. The other point you identify is quite right. Skyrocketing energy prices are fueling increases to prices everywhere because energy is needed for the creation and production of practically every good and service that we use. So when energy prices go up, the price of everything else goes up. And that means that we're suffering in terms of higher grocery bills, cost of living, and faster inflation, which is hitting working class and middle class Australians very hard.
Well, Daniel, the West Australian Liberals pulled a trick like this prior to their state election last year. It included shutting down 2 state-owned coal-fired power stations by 2025. Does Matthew Guy know how that ended?
Well, apparently not, Fred. And don't forget also South Australia under Stephen Marshall had a similar green zealotry as a part of their policy platform. They lost comprehensively at the last election in South Australia, despite having only been there for 1 term. And also the other key point politically is we've had the federal election. That is a critical data point, because don't forget the federal coalition adopted the policy of net zero emissions with the explicit intent of trying to win those inner city teal seats, and they lost them anyway. So the point is that chasing this inner city green vote through radical climate policy has not proven to be the path to government or to success for the Liberal parties at the state or federal level, in addition, and more importantly, to the fact that it is bad for our nation for all the reasons we've just discussed.